Come on. All right, Game of Thrones fans. That was awesome. One of the best episodes of the series, hands down, by far, no doubt. Wow. It's actually taken me 5 days to fully process everything that happened. I've watched it 4 or 5 other times since then, but it's just wow. So, first note, spoiler alert. Anyone who hasn't watched it, you shouldn't be watching this anyway, so shame on you. But, got that out of the way. I would also like to put in a disclaimer that I was 99% wrong about everything. So don't listen to me. I'm just a muser. I just like talking about this stuff. I like giving my thoughts, but I was 99% wrong about everything. And I think this episode proves just how far off book mythology they've gone. But don't care. Spectacular episode. I love the show. It is so good. D&D have done a fantastic job with them. So, quick nod to the director. I can't recall his name at the moment, but he's also the same director that directed the Battle of the Bastards episode, and unbelievable work. Cinematography throughout this whole thing was incredible. I mean, the disappearing flaming swords of the Dothraki in the night, flickering out in quick succession, was not only terrifying, but so impactful, and you really didn't need to see much. So, definitive drama, less is more there. However, completely upended by the swarm and wave of whites charging the army or climbing the wall, or zombies raining down on Winterfell like it's nothing. It was just awesome. It had everything you could possibly think of. But in the end, unbelievable. Winterfell technically fell. However, they were pushed back, and it still exists today, however heavily damaged. But Winterfell still exists. I was wrong about that theory. So, quick recap. Melisandre shows up. It starts with her entering the scene, the battle, the pre-battle scene, igniting the swords of the Dothraki, immediately buying her trust and faith from everyone else. You're like, okay, she lit their swords on fire. She's good. Let her in. Just pass it through. But she knew she was going to her death, as I think most people in Winterfell thought as well. So you got to give credit there. But she's fulfilling the destiny of her Lord of the Light, much like Beric Dondarrion did. Good old Beric, that one-eyed preacher evangelist, fulfilled his destiny and did what he was brought back to do, which was protect Arya. And I will say this about a lot of the death scenes of the big characters here. No final words, so to speak. There's no last breath, philosophy or advice or preaching of love to be given. They all died wordlessly, which I thought was really impactful. But anyway, back to the battle. Obviously, as soon as the Dothraki were toast, you could see the heart kind of go out of the battle. But then, Daenerys picks them right back up with Dragonfire. Dragons coming in, boom. Everyone thinking we have a fighting chance. So I thought that was awesome that that she decided to engage the field, because they're right in the battle plan from last episode. Having 2 dragons will help ease it. But they totally called it. They went right for Bran, or at least that was the end goal. And I was still kind of surprised that was the actual end goal. I thought maybe there was going to be a little bit of a bait and switch there, but ultimately it was not. So Uh, overarching battle, incredible. I mean, everybody was getting in it. Everyone was pushed back. Arya looked like a freaking ninja. Um, I thought it was interesting that the Hound went through sort of a bit of a PTSD because of the fire. Um, but ultimately, if Melisandre did not show up, they would not have gotten as far as they've gotten. They would not. They probably wouldn't have gotten there. So she fulfilled her destiny, and I just love that final scene with her walking into the winter, and you see her breath, her final breath, leave her, or is it the magic leaving her? I don't know what you want to call it, but it was awesome. So deaths. Beric Dondarrion already mentioned. Ed, bro, dead. Got it in the back, saving Sam. Damn it, Sam. Just stay in the crypts where you're supposed to. Jeevers. Excuse me. Jorah Mormont. Obviously, huge death. Last breath. And fighting to the last breath. Protecting Dany. I mean, wounded multiple times in heavy ways, but still killing it with Heartsbane. And I think it was very appropriately named Sword because obviously he loves Dany and he's fighting to protect her because he loves her. And Heartsbane is a very appropriate choice of the sword, especially him dying wielding it. It was incredible. I thought it was kind of interesting that his death was I don't know. I personally thought it wasn't so much more of a lover's death as it was a father's death, and I think that there may be something to be said there because Dany never really had a true father figure. I mean, Viserys was the closest one, being her brother, but the rest of it, they were her companions or lovers. Which really never a father figure except for Jorah. So that was interesting. The death of Jorah is massive with Drogon curling up with Daenerys. Tearjerker, I know, but to me it almost like it rounded out as the feeling of a good dog movie where the dog sort of sits down and mourns the death of their owner or something like that. But I also found interesting that Jorah and Drogon actually did have a big connection there because he could hear Drogon when they were fighting in the battle. He heard it. That's why he went outside. He heard Drogon taking off, White's on his back, trying to kick him free, and he knows that Dany's not on him. He knows that. He's experienced. He knows the cry. So that's what brought him to Dany in the first place to protect her. So epic ending. And speaking of another death, the death of House Mormont entirely. Lady Mormont, badass, unbelievable, the most diminutive person, with the exception of Tyrion, in the entirety of Winterfell, and she takes out the biggest, baddest white there was, except for the dragon. Unbelievable, just you go, girl. And damn, what a way to go. Moving on. So, Theon, of course, redemption. Finally, we all knew he was good with a bow, but we saw him finally in tight, close quarters combat and kicking ass, and to a point where, he's earned the publicly Lord of the House Stark, Lord of Winterfell, Bran, earns his redemption, an absolution from House Stark. So he could die happy. Although, did I find it kind of funny that, given his past, that he's charging at the Night King with a very large stick at crotch level? I thought that was kind of funny. But Theon, oh man, what a way to go! But you did Winterfell proud. Who else did I miss in terms of deaths? Well, there was quite a lot of them, and then there was quite a lot of re-deaths, thanks to the Night King and the raising of Crypt's Nest. One thing that I did get right in this entire thing was that the Crypts of Winterfell, the dead will rise with the Night's King. Thought that the only thing that I got right in that whole scenario. But getting back to really the overall arcane thing, Arya, freaking ninja, full story arc, awesome, awesome, awesome. And the move, as soon as that knife fell out of her hand, I know some people thought, no, she's dead. I knew that was going right to the other hand, just because they made such a point of that, in that fight with Brienne. So there's, now she snuck up on him, barely. He caught her, but I think that was the intention. The one thing that really kind of irks me about the whole thing is, where the hell did Bran warg to while Theon was fighting off all the whites? Where was he? Where did he go? What was he doing? As he warged into a bird, we know that. Well, where did he go? What did he go see? Or he wasn't going back in time and seeing something. He wasn't checking up on Theon's background while he's battling his guts out. No, he was doing something. He was checking on something. But what? We don't know, because he was in it for a long time. But anyway, Bran, he's got some questions to answer. Sam, did he call out for Jon on the battlefield? I don't know. I thought he was just going, while Jon was running by. But, Jon couldn't help him. He had focused. He had bigger fish to fry. He was trying to protect Bran. But ultimately, in the end, he just stared down a dragon, an ice dragon, waiting to be killed himself. I think this may be a testament that Jon Snow will not survive this whole thing, because he's a bit suicidal. And I feel like the only member of the Night's Watch should be left over is Sam. Just my opinion. So I think that sort of takes care of the overarching battle. Oh, Tyrion and Sansa. There's something there, but what is it? I think maybe is it found respect, mutual love, and appreciation for each other, mutual appreciation for not hating each other, but also being generally good people. We'll see where that leads. God knows, because Sansa did say that he was the best husband she ever had. There's a lot to unpack for the next episode. In the previews that I saw, there's Dothraki, there's some Unsullied remaining. There's some soldiers there. Well, ultimately, if they're going after Cersei, it's got to be a clandestine mission. It's, tight group, Magnificent Seven kind of style. Arya knows the insides of King's Landing, the underground. Tyrion does as well as Davos knows the best ways to get in. What do I expect? I expect a backroom, throat-slitting, backstabbing, dramatic finish for this whole series. But ultimately, I think Cersei may win this. She coined the phrase Game of Thrones. In the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. Come on. She's pretty ruthless. So, will there be other factors? Will Varys have a factor on the Golden Company? Will the death of Jorah Mormont have a factor on the Golden Company? I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned. And we live through the long night. Now on to Bird King's Landing.